Welcome stage, Tilen.
Thank you.
You're the founder and the CEO of Juicy Marbles, the first premium steak in the world. You're also a serial entrepreneur, investor, and a startup mentor. Really happy to have you here on stage. Welcome.
Thank you.
Let's talk about Juicy Marbles. What was your personal motivation to start this company?
So I graduated in food science and technology a while ago, and then IT was just a more interesting field. At the time, the food industry was moving slow from the external observer. And a few years back, I changed my diet to a plant-based diet, and I rediscovered what is going on in the food industry, and I wanted to be part of it. So my motivation is basically solving my own itch of having the great experience of meat without all the bad side effects.
And how did you go about it? So how did you guys start?
So we met at the hackathon, and I was one of the jury members there, and the guys presented a really crazy idea that to this day I still think nobody in the room besides us three understood. It was a bioreactor for your home that was actually built in the lid of a Nutella jar, so you could ferment your own vitamins at home. Something that might come to the market in a few years. I started mentoring them, and we started hanging out together, and soon we realized that meat alternatives are one of the areas that we are most passionate about. So we started tinkering around with different approaches and products, and then eventually this led to the creation of this product.
And I mean, it's a plant-based steak, right? But what exactly goes into that? How do you make it? What's inside of it?
Yeah. So the main ingredient is soy, and there's also some sunflower oil, some gluten, and some other additives that you would find in any normal food item that you buy. If you eat meat today, you would find those components in your meat products.
Okay, and what's special about that? Because today it was announced that Impossible Foods, there are some of big ones already out there, right? Beyond Meat, Impossible Foods. They just announced a 500 million in financing. Yeah. Again, so what's different about Juicy Marbles? Why should I buy it and not go for Beyond Meat?
Yeah, so we launched a plant-based burger, actually, I think this was 2 years ago in Slovenia. And the predominant feedback we got is, I'm tired of minced meat products. When will there be a proper steak I can bite into? So we took on the challenge, and this is also how we differentiate. So we develop a technology that allows us to, we call it 3D assemble a whole muscle. So think the muscles, the fibers, the fat, and all of that. So with that, we're able to basically make any piece of animal flesh without obviously the animals, and this can then be cut into prime cuts, such as filet mignon, which we chose because it's the premium of the most premium of all of them.
So if I want to have a really high-end steak, this is when I buy a Juicy Marble.
Yeah. So if you want to have a premium plant-based experience, you buy Juicy Marbles, but you can also buy it for your friends who either eat or don't eat meat.
Yeah, this is a good thing because I think about it. Do you really think that this kind of products are going to change the way the meat lovers eat and how they behave, or is it a product just to make my life as a vegan better?
Yeah. So us vegans, we are kind of lost souls. We kind of crossed the chasm, and we can live off grass and stuff like that. But there's actual people in the world who enjoy meat, and they are becoming increasingly more aware about the problems, environmental, ethical, and health-wise, of meat, and they're looking for products that would satisfy the experiential demands of meat, but wouldn't have all the negative sides. So we are honestly more aiming at those people. We call them flexitarians, and they're obviously more demanding when it comes to experience, because you and I have all eaten a fair amount of tofu steaks and stuff like that. And you know, to be honest, you never could call anything steak. Now you can.
Yeah, yeah, interesting, because I think there's like 40% of all the whole target groups are flexitarians, right? It's the biggest group.
Yeah, and you know, the recent studies show that even flexitarians are now, you know, breaking apart in subcompartments, and I hope personally that will be, or that our focus is on those who are slightly towards the meat eaters, right?
Yeah. So what's next for a startup?
So
Can we already buy it, buy the product?
So you can almost already buy it. We had such high demand that our lab pilot facility was overwhelmed, and we stopped selling for a while. We are just adding the final touches to our new production facility near Ljubljana, and will be on the market early next year.
Fantastic. And maybe just like a general vision of Juicy Marbles for the world, like for the world in 5 to 10 years. How do you think the food industry is going to look like?
Yeah.
And what has to happen?
So I think that, you know, the food industry is obviously a very mature and industry, and there's a lot of smart people working it. You know, we see big meat companies renaming themselves to protein companies. So I'm not, you know, I feel that money will take care of the most of the things. So like, you know, fast food restaurants, I envision will upgrade to plant-based as the default quite soon, because it's just so much cheaper. You're cutting out all the inefficiencies of producing actual meat. But for such experience, I think we are still quite far away from achieving like the optimal place. And our vision is to be on the forefront of that unifying moment where people actually start not caring anymore where the meat is coming from, but just enjoy the experience.
Yeah. And another question, because I always get this, you know, I'm a vegan person, I'm a new vegan person, but I always get asked, like, why does it have to look like meat? Why, like, if you create something new, why does it have to to be called meat?
So quite honestly, for now, looking and tasting exactly like meat is a PR stunt. Mm-hmm. But I think people will flock to these kind of products when they meet three things. So they have to be better than real meat, taste and experience-wise. They have to be priced similar to real meat, and they have to be healthier and more sustainable. So once those checks are checked, I think people will start flocking, regardless of their beliefs of meat is bad or good or whatever. If the experience will be great, they will change.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So now
we
talked so much about it. I think probably everyone really wants to taste it. That's what we're going to do. My colleague Christiane is going to have a bite.
Thank you very much. Okay, this really does look like meat, I have to say. I'm a flexitarian, so I do know both worlds. So let me taste it. This is actually the next level of stage presentation in front of a camera.
No business like show business.
Okay.
I need to enjoy it till the end.
Okay, might take a moment. No worries, guys. We have more pieces here, so everyone is going to get a bite.
This is really delicious. I mean, it really tastes. I wouldn't say it tastes 100% like meat, I have to say, but it's a whole different world of the vegan meat I have experienced so far, because the texture is texture is very meat-like. You can really feel that on your tongue, and that's really great. How did you make the texture? Actually, can you explain that again?
So yeah, we developed some proprietary like machines and processing to get the fibers into the product, and it's one of the things that we don't share yet with the world how exactly, but it involves a bit of physics.
Thanks. Fantastic. Enjoy the steak. Tilen, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
the food and for the insights.